All right, we're going.
This week on the Media Virus Podcast, NFL lets a boomer that actually is nicknamed Boomer comment on an open mic, and they get upset when he offends black people everywhere. Staying way ahead of the curve, Delaware joins 23 other states in banning TikTok access from state networks and devices. The JonBenet Ramsey cold case is being reheated with DNA evidence after some 23 years. All this, conflict resolution coach Jerry Fu, Maddie's TikTok nonsense corner, and in honor of Black History Month, Stanley brings us the next installment of his chilling new series.
All right, we're
How
going.
to Survive. What?
Sorry.
This week on the This week, you're killing me, Matt. This week on the Media Virus Podcast, NFL lets a boomer that is actually nicknamed Boomer comment on an open mic and gets upset when he offends black people everywhere. Staying ahead of the curve, Delaware joins 23 other states in banning TikTok access from state networks and devices. The JonBenet Ramsey cold case is being reheated with DNA evidence some 23 years later. All this, conflict resolution coach Jerry Fu, Maddie's TikTok nonsense corner, and in honor of Black History Month, Stanley brings us the next installment of his chilling new series, How to Survive Dating a Black Woman, on this, the 119th episode of the Media Virus Podcast. It's the Media Virus Podcast. Let's point and laugh at the world burning around us with executive producer Mike Latoris. We're going to start over. BBC correspondent Stanley McFadden.
Makes me tingly in an unfamiliar way.
Grease Monkey Pete.
Damn, Big Daddy.
Here's the thing about the Media Virus Podcast. It's really well done.
And now, spreading the sage nihilism of an aged Gen Xer, your host and mine, the star of our show, the incomparable Maddie Rockdeath.
Hot damn, do we have a show for you people this week? I am Maddie Rockdeath. Welcome to the Media Virus Podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. I want to take a minute to thank the new subscribers for their support. And to invite everyone to take a moment and go over to themediavirus.com and check out all of that awesome content. You can always give us a call here at the Media Virus at 646-VIRUS-01. You might make it on the show. Who knows? Let's say hi to our guest this evening. He is a conflict resolution coach specializing in Asian American leaders. And you can find out more about that at adaptingleaders.com. Mr. Jerry Fu, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty great. Doing. That's. We're gonna really looking forward to finding out more, about what it is you do and more just about you in general. But I have something that I absolutely need to share, like with everybody, because guys, I have single-handedly masterminded the perfect solution to the most pressing problem of our time. Okay, no, hang on, just let me set the scene. All right, I'm at work and I'm making a sandwich, and I've got my two favorite sandwich ingredients: Lebanon bologna and Cooper cheese. All right, now they don't sound good together, but I like it. And now what you might not know, not sure if everyone's aware, but Cooper is America's brand, but an American cheese can get crumbly, and hard to kind of peel away. And that got me to thinking that, it's hard to separate. And it got me thinking that, dude, if I just put it in the microwave for 15 seconds, you know what I mean? 15 seconds, made it soft. Boom, everything was perfect. And it peeled perfectly. I mean, this is how I felt, man. I just had to tell people. I was telling Bill, I was telling if any of our listeners is on the Nobel committee, then you should probably be replaced. But however, I guarantee you that that moment of enlightenment that I had was very similar to how Chris Berman felt about the Super Bowl being on Abe Lincoln's birthday, except mine was genius, and that went over like a fart on the bus.
Yeah, NFL is not happy with Chris with his post game remark. A longtime ESPN host Chris Berman caused a stir on social media with his Abe Lincoln remark after the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes made history on Sunday night, becoming the first black quarterbacks to face off in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs beat the Eagles to win their second championship under Andy Reid. And following the game, Berman did highlights on ESPN, noting a weird fact. Also, of course, two African-American quarterbacks starting against each other in the Super Bowl for the first time. Fittingly, February 12th is Abe Lincoln's birthday. That's the Berman quote.
It's the guy wasn't trying to be a dick.
No, I mean
the guy wasn't trying to like shit on anybody. As no, I mean the dude, like he's an old dude. He's probably thinking to himself like, "Oh, this is a really interesting fact," and he probably had this moment where he was like, "This is really gonna."
Well, Lincoln was known for going to black guys' birthday parties.
What?
That's not what I thought. That was the correlation. Lincoln always showed up at black guys' birthday parties. No.
Was he driving a Lincoln?
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, there's really not a real connection there. Berman's comment went viral on social media. Let's see, some of the fans wrote in some happy little notes about his comments. My man couldn't say also and during Black History Month, or leave at during Black History Month instead of Abe. It's Twitter, so not all of these quotes come together well.
But it couldn't go without being said, right? We couldn't just like let these two teams play without pointing out, like, who thought of that statistic to point that out?
Chris Berman.
You see what I'm saying? No, not the Abe Lincoln statistic, but the original, like, oh, these two black, because I heard that. That's just like the first thing people said when it was the Chiefs versus the Eagles, and I don't see why that's important.
One of my friends commented the other day that they heard that not less than 360 times before kickoff.
I don't see why that's needs to be
in the realm of professional football. Traditionally, quarterback is a fairly Caucasian position. It's where white guys still excel in football. And the speculation is that that's by design because there's and I don't quite get it because quarterback is supposed to be the thinking man's position. He's got some sort of control on the field, but I don't know. I think you're wandering into some dangerous
territory here, Mike.
Well, I don't get it because you've got guys that are at the height of their game. These are the professionals that are at the top of the game. Yeah. And I don't think it really matters who they are. They're pit against one another. That's kind of the way this whole thing works.
Yeah. But Jerry, let me ask you this. The type of conflict that comes from someone putting their foot in their mouth, just, and like saying something that is to them innocuous or even like enlightened, but to somebody else, it takes is there a way to settle that conflict, or is that, how does he make this go away?
Short of going and jumping in a hole.
Yeah, I mean, you could take this from several angles, right? I think the most productive one is just to admit, hey, you know what, I'm human, and sometimes I make mistakes, and if I did hit some cultural tripwire that I'm trying to look like I know something I don't, please educate me, right? I think there's an opportunity to give grace and to show grace, and I think
Right.
this is one of those moments.
Right. But then he doesn't have to do any of the follow-up education. Like he's going to say, educate me, but then he doesn't really have to do any of the real work, right? Because
Well,
that seems hard.
As long as he
or-
doesn't put his foot in it again.
yeah. I mean, it just depends, like, what kind of dice you want to roll, I think. I mean, if the person happens to be able to tell you exactly, what kind of measures you can take to prevent this situation from happening again, why would you leave that kind of insight on the table? But again, that's your choice.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good point.
I took the opportunity to send him a crowbar.
Get his foot out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I'm a tool guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
You're on the team. Yeah.
But I don't have a transition to move to TikTok, but
Well,
apparently Delaware is preventing their state employees. We're all Jerry. Where are you sitting? Where are you calling in from, man?
I'm dialing in from Houston, Texas.
Houston, the land of the free.
Yeah.
Houston, the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
There you go.
But Houston, huh? That's you guys just recently had what was that last year? That like a snowfall?
Oh, we had an ice storm or two. I mean, we actually had one just a couple of weeks ago that didn't hit Houston as badly, but Austin and Dallas were still pretty cold.
Saw pictures of that.
Yeah.
How did that? Did you just stay home? Are you able to? I guess you're a pharmacist. Are you like a pharmacist, or are you still a pharmacist?
Yeah, I still have my license, and I still have a day job as a pharmacist. Yes.
Right on. I'm a part-time secretary, so just so
There
you
you
know, if anything that comes out of my mouth that sounds insulting, just know where it's coming from. I'm a 46-year-old part-time secretary. But did you, I mean, I guess so you had was the travel like difficult for everybody, or?
I mean, Houston wasn't hit as badly, but when the ice storm
that.
from like last year or so was, I mean, or 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, 2 years ago was really terrible just because like water, pipes froze, no one could shower. And I mean, the power grid was completely knocked out. Yeah, my place went without power for about 48 hours. And so, by the second night, it was like just every blanket you could find and, just to try to stay warm and just pray that the power would come on in the morning. Yeah.
Now, having known some Houston residents, you don't sound like you're a lifelong resident of Houston.
No, I'm not. I've been here the last about 12 and a half years now, but yeah, I'm not a native Houstonian.
You've done a good job of not picking up the Texas accent.
I'd be all over that. Whatever it is, I'd be all over that. I'd have it. I went to go visit my sister when I was 12. She lives in Massachusetts. I come back with, park the car. This fucking guy, kid. My wife is from Massachusetts. Now, you would never know it because she speaks very properly, but she can turn on that accent, and she can also turn on this really good Puerto Rican accent because she's Puerto Rican as well. Okay. But she turns on this when we go up there. She doesn't turn it on. It just comes out. Like when she's talking to her friends, like it just comes out. And then I start to develop that, man, yeah, guy, come on, guy. What are you doing to me, guy? So if I were a transplant, so where were you, where'd you grow up?
Yeah. Originally Wisconsin. My parents came over from Taiwan. Yeah. I started in Wisconsin. Okay. And then, when my dad's job took him some weird places, we ended up in Knoxville for the second leg of my life. And then I first came to Houston for college. Took a chance on Rice University, and then when I decided on pharmacy school, went back up to Tennessee, spent some years in Memphis before moving back to Knoxville, and then worked in Knoxville for a couple of years before moving back to Houston.
Right on. You've been all pretty much the middle of the country. You've kind of gone up and down.
That's where that homogenized version of English that's coming out. I find it interesting. In Delaware, we have we don't have an accent that's noticed everywhere, but there's some things that are noticeable to us from the area. And when I decided I wanted to talk, when I was a young man, and wanted to go into radio, I did everything I could to scrub that out of my life and not sound like I was from somewhere, because I had talked with a radio professional at some point who said that your best bet is to just figure out how you can sound like you're from everywhere, or get to a place where you sound like you're from everywhere, and when you get into a job, you can slide into whatever they're doing, so you sound like you're from there, and everybody likes you. And
That's a smart play. Yeah.
and then once I perfected that, I fell into a job here doing construction, and I forgot to go back to college and started a podcast many years later.
Yeah.
So, but here in Delaware, we all happen to be in Delaware, but here in Delaware, the state is preventing its employees from going onto TikTok. And I can't believe that the Delaware's like, that's such a problem.
Well, they don't want you to do it from state devices and on the state network. And I'm honestly surprised that it's just now coming down, because in my day job, I've worked a fair amount with the state and their IT people, and they're very protective of their IT setup, and there's a lot that they don't want to happen with it, like even anybody knowing anything about it. So I think this is probably valid. The state of Delaware is asking state employees to stay off of TikTok on state-owned devices or the state's IT network. A letter sent to state employees last month announced that the Chinese-owned social media network would be blocked from being accessed on the state's network, and would also not be permitted on devices distributed to state employees. Among concerns listed by CIO Jason Clark of the Department of Technology and Information were that TikTok could collect data from the phone's clipboard, password, and MAC address, plus could be compelled to supply that data to China through their national security laws. So,
we can't let China get the DMV's phone number. God forbid. You call the DMV all the goddamn time. Like, what the fuck? Not national security secrets. It's fucking Delaware. I mean,
boss.
I understand the thinking, but
I've got 7 guys down there in the boiler room. They've been on hold with Delaware's DMV for a combined total of 74 hours.
It's
trying to get registration for those.
I mean, I got an idea. Like, maybe state employees shouldn't be on TikTok at all. Like, maybe you shouldn't be on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Well, the issue is some of the
my taxes pay their salary, right?
But some of the agencies in the state government have used TikTok as part of their social media presence. So that's where this is coming up.
Dumb. It's a dumb thing to do.
Well, I mean,
state agency, they don't need a social. Or I guess maybe like if they're handing out condoms and shit.
Well, I mean, the Office of Highway Safety has done big pushes on Facebook and Twitter, and have been reasonably effective in some of their stuff. But I mean, so
you have TikTok, Jerry?
I don't touch it. No,
you don't touch it.
No, well, actually,
because you're a grown.
Well, here's the funny thing now that you mentioned it. I don't have a personal TikTok account, but funny thing is my day job wants me to do TikTok ads for the COVID kit campaign that we've been doing. And so people have found me and contacted me to say, hey, I saw your TikTok ad. And so in a way I am on TikTok, but not because I want to be on TikTok. It's, it just comes with the territory.
Avoid it at all costs, Jerry. It will steal our.
I don't want to look like a hypocrite. Oh yeah, I know. No, I know. I've dealt with distractions more than enough in the form of other things, like
the cool thing. Now, here's the fun thing about TikTok, because we actually have a section of the show at the end called Maddie's TikTok nonsense. which is
Right.
the funny TikToks that I find. I
Okay.
share them and then we play them because
Okay.
copyright infringements. Why not? And most of my stuff is either really funny or deeply anti-government and state or
Mhm.
dogs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So TikTok is what you make of it. If
Yeah.
TikTok figures out what you like and will show it to you,
Okay.
right? So it knows I like dogs, it knows I like funny things, and it knows I hate the government. So it just knows these things. So it just shows them to you. It's great.
Okay.
I don't really hate the government. Like I have no malicious intent. I'm a 46-year-old part-time receptionist. The podcast. I've said it before. I'm not a danger to anyone. But
If
I
you
forgot
think
the
that
next-
leaves you plenty of time to rent trucks and buy fertilizer and diesel fuel, you're absolutely wrong. He doesn't have anything to do with that.
that's not.
Speaking of not having anything to do with things, John Benet Ramsey case, the Boulder police have responded to unearthed DNA bombshell. This active investigation continues, the police say.
I can save the bombshell. They found some. It doesn't put out who it is. This article never mentions who the DNA belongs to, but apparently it does rule out the parents.
Yeah, pretty much everybody that they've looked at so far.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I also picked up in here that the information has kind of been on ice since 1997, so there's that. An active investigation continues into the cold case killing of 6-year-old John Benet Ramsey with help from several private DNA laboratories. Police in Boulder, Colorado said in response to unearthed documents. On Friday, Fox News Digital reported an unearthed 1997 DNA test that shows DNA evidence recovered under... Thank you, Fox. Go away.
At least it wasn't my fault this time.
Well, it's an article from Fox, so technically it
It's
is.
got to have stuff running in the background. But this was the case that made Nancy Grace. Do you remember? Like,
Yeah.
This Nancy Grace, that's how she made her bones, is talking about this case over and over constantly. This was before the other one, the hot one, Casey Anthony. Not the daughter, the mom's hot.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And 8 years of child support's better than 18, if you know what I'm saying. And so I grew up, like I wasn't 97. I was
We were young then.
young. I was a young man. I just graduated high school in 1996. So, were you I mean, do you remember this case, Jerry?
Yeah, I do.
You do? I mean, do you remember it being just plastered everywhere and just like them? And
It was inescapable.
Right, it was, and then it kind of went away for a while. Every once in a while, it would pop up in like an unsolved mystery. But they have DNA, and that's really exciting to me. But I wanted to.
Well, it's interesting that they had DNA then.
Well,
They
yeah, and
they just stuffed it in a folder and kept on going.
it's got to be the dad's DNA. Just put it away. It's fine. I mean, and that's they just make assumptions and have at it. Oh.
So yeah, Patsy Ramsey, the John Benet's mother, reported her 6-year-old daughter missing on the morning of December 26, 1996, in Boulder, Colorado, after discovering a ransom note demanding $118,000 in exchange for her return. John Ramsey found her body later that day in the basement of the home.
But weren't they saying like the window was broken in the basement, but it was broken? It was broken from the inside.
Yeah, there was a lot of really oddball details that never lined up with much, and a lot of it
focused. The cops were really
family.
focused on that. I remember they were really focused on the fact that but meanwhile there's DNA like under her fingernails and shit. But they're focused on the window being broken the wrong way. And I mean, maybe he used a suction cup to break the window. You ever do that? Just especially
No.
like those, a shitty
No.
pane window, like an old shitty pane window. You can pull those out with a suction cup, and sometimes they
Not
snap.
even.
I don't know if I don't know if he went through the time to take the glazing off.
I mean, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it only takes 10, 20 minutes.
Boulder police say they've interviewed tens of thousands. They've investigated tens of thousands of tips over the years and interviewed more than 1,000 people across 19 states.
Meanwhile, there's fucking DNA under her fingernails. Let's keep like everything they say. Just they talk to millions of people, and meanwhile, the answer is right underneath. So now but they're looking for there's a lab that is looking to get the sample so that they can test, so that they can compare it to. It's one of the services.
Yeah,
They want to compare it to familial matches. Everybody that's voluntarily turned in their DNA, and given all of their information to the government, all those folks, they're going to compare the killer of JonBenet Ramsey to all those folks
and see if they come up with something close.
Yeah, it was it'd be funny if they caught the guy.
Well,
he knows. No, but he got he gave his DNA,
and that's happened a lot of times. They've had that. That's why they're out there looking to do this now. They've proven that theory works. There's cases that they've reeled in based on the fact that somebody somewhere along the line did one of these DNA services, and hey, look, we can lead you down the path to this guy.
Right. Don't let your family do DNA. If you're going to do bad stuff, if you're not going to do bad stuff.
And that's the other interesting point is in some of the cases, it's not the actual offender that has given up their DNA. It's someone in their familial line that they can trace it far enough and go to that person and say, hey, is your brother shady? Do you have a father that kind of weird? And they've been able to solve cases.
Yeah, that's I know both my parents have had their DNA, like their ancestry DNA, done.
You might as well do yours then, because
I mean, so
they've got
I
enough.
don't really have to. I know the results of both of theirs. Just do the math, right? If my mom's 1% Jewish, then I'm 0.5% Jewish, right?
Well, as it turns out, you could find out that one of your parents isn't really one of your parents.
Well, I know my father is my father. I know that for a fact.
Well, in all of our conversations, you have said your mom's kind of shady.
Okay, I never said my mom was shady. Never said that. I have only mentioned that I have two brothers with two different last names. She was married the whole time to different dudes. It's don't. But I know for a fact that my dad is my dad, because as I've explained, my last name really because my father has the name of a dude that his mom was married to that wasn't his dad. So my name should be Eustace, right? Eustace is like the family of Eustaces is really into being Eustaces. Like this is an honor, dude. Mm-hmm. Except for me, because I'm the son of a bastard. And so he had his DNA tested to make sure that the man who claimed to be his father was his father, and he was. And then he had my DNA tested. So I guess I did have my DNA tested. So I'm railing on about I'm a complete hypocrite. So there you go.
But there's no chance that your mother might not actually be your mother.
No, everybody saw that happen. The doctor cut me out of her. I'll tell you that right now. He verified it. So as long as if my dad's my dad, then I wasn't switched at birth.
Well, you make a good point.
It's a good point, right? Because there was I've just recently heard this story, has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about, but I just recently heard this story where a dude was doubting that this kid was his kid, right?
Right.
He had the DNA tested. It wasn't his kid. He was pissed. He fucking, going through a divorce, all this other shit.
Mhm.
She gets a DNA test with the kid. Ain't her kid either. They switched the kid at birth. Like, this is like new, right? This is like, I heard this like last week. I was like, holy shit, dude. And then just getting like, just from sloppiness. But now, because I just recently had a new nephew, Constantino Marvello Santiago.
That's
Such
a name.
long name, right?
That
Yeah.
kid's got some alphabet.
Yeah, he does. We should just call him Alphabet just to save time. Everybody, well, and his father has named him that so that people call him Tino, right? I will refuse and I will call him Connie just to piss him off.
You just call him Al, short for alphabet.
Alphabet.
Why do you keep calling my kid Al?
Yeah, but the security measures now in a nursery, like
Oh yeah.
there's no big room anymore with a big glass
No, they
to
as
see
much
the
as they can, they try to leave
they
them right
keep it with the baby, and there's an alarm on the baby that if the baby gets too close to the door of the room,
it goes off.
it goes on.
They're low jacking kids now.
Oh yeah.
dude. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
And that was amazing to me. And like, I don't remember if with Ryan, but definitely with Matt. Matt's 26, but my youngest or my oldest, I remember like there being a room to go look at and see the name taped on the little bin. That's Sanazak Hunt. Her last name was Hunt. And all this. And I saw the kids, and you see the little other kids that got born that day. And some of them only had one name, and some of them had two names, like my kid. You know how that works. But they don't have that anymore because I went up and I asked the fucking nurse. I'm like, I came and I saw the baby, and I think it was actually a show night, and I had to go. It was something I had to go, but I was went up to the nurse's station. I go, hey, I don't see the big window. Where's the big window with the room with all the babies? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the room with all the babies. She's like, what? And this old nurse from the back just yelled, they don't do that anymore.
You're old. Go home.
You're old. You're old and stupid, Grandpa. But coming up after this in the B block, we are going to be talking to all about Jerry Fu and finding out, some different tips, I guess, for conflict resolution, or you could take those tips and reverse them and use them for conflict escalation if you choose to. I'm going to personally ask questions about how I can, escalate conflicts that I'm not necessarily in. I'm more of an instigator. I like to start problems and then watch them play out. I don't necessarily want to have to deal with anything. And we're gonna find out more about that coming up. Did I miss it? You can check out Jerry's website at adaptingleaders.com. You can check out everything at the mediavirus.com. You can give us a call at 646-virus-01. Did I miss anything, Mike?
I think that's about all we need to tell everybody, other than we'll be back right after this with our B block on the Media Virus Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Raspberry Teabag! And that's the A block.